The drop is coming. The drop is incoming. Hang on. Hang on. Yo! Yo, that's cool. That's insane. Alright, so about a week or a week and a half ago, I opened up my messages and asked you guys to send your levels in to me. And I told you that I would review them in a future video. Well, that video is today, so I'm just going to review these. I'm going to get into them, open them up, give some feedback as I go, so let's just get straight into this one. Alright, so the first one we're going to be having is called Balling by Christic GMD. The song is Starlight Promenade. Very nice song. It's really relaxed, chill, and if done right, it can definitely bring an extremely nice energy that's just calm, collected, and just makes the player feel really nice after they play it. So let's just see how this was done. Let's just see if it's any feedback I can give. Alright, so there's a really nice entering setting done here where the blocks kind of wave up and down. And we're into a little bit more of a complex block design here. I like the little effect that's added that makes it feel like you're watching like an old TV. The flickering. It's actually kind of interesting. Okay, so what is this? Is it an orb? I don't see any orb function, but I don't know. So is this a double jump? I think it's a double jump. So basically what that means is that the player can then jump twice even after they're off the thing. And maybe add a bit of an indicator for that. I like this part a lot. It's pretty chill, I think. There's a lot of pulsing going on with the clouds. And I'm off the screen. And, whoa. Alright, that happened. I know I have to fight the S block a ton. Like, I just fight the urge to tell people to add S blocks, but these were done quite nicely, so way to go there for sure. Overall, very, very, very solid level. It's only about 55 seconds long, which definitely takes it out of high feature category. I could definitely see it getting featured, but it might be a bit more tricky with its shorter length. I thought that the first part was really nice. I liked the kind of introduction to the level that it presented. I would maybe advise you to add a bit more depth to the block designs and add a little bit more complexity to it, but that's a stylistic choice for sure. I'd also say that the second part was really nice. I like those more complex designs that were added. I felt like the creator did a good job of getting a grasp of combination of the more messy, flashy style with the smooth, relaxed feeling to it, which is really hard to do, so I was impressed by that for sure. 21 hours, that's dedication for sure, and a low object count. 8,400 for that. That's really well optimized. 6 stars. I could see it going for 5 stars. 6 stars would be decent though too, so. Overall, very, very, very solid level. Adding a indicator for the double jump and that you're falling off the screen would be my two major complaints, but otherwise, this is really nice, so way to go. Alright, the next one we got up is called Cyanide by Azure Blue. It's a breakcore level, which means that it might get a bit interesting. It could get a little bit fast. If the creator does it well, it's always really fun, so let's just hop to it. Let's just go. Alright, space is definitely filled here. There's definitely a lot of full space going on, which is always really nice to play. I always like full space levels. Black Orb is going to be causing me some bouts, I can tell. Alright, we got a nice shenanigan. I like the trail. The wave trail is a nice addition. Flip gravity. Whoa! Okay. Okay, so the block designs are a bit simple here for sure, but, you know, I think that's just a choice. I might make them a bit more complex in that cube part. I know it's 4 times speed, but still. We got people. Oh my goodness, people.
Wow.
Oh, that's an interesting glitch. So you can actually hit that quote-unquote fake, and you can still clear the level. So maybe make that a bit less possible. Yeah, that's pretty solid. I do feel like as the level went on, it did get maybe a bit more simple as the speed increased. And I like consistency in, complexity of the designs, even when the level does get faster. You can get by with more, but I like complex designs. It shows dedication for the creator. They want to make a level that people continue to look at, and they want to slow down because there's so much detail in it. 10,000 objects, that's pretty good for a full minute-long level. 30 hours, again, clear dedication, so I'm impressed by that. Definitely way to go on that one. Just, those are very minor tweaks that I wanted to toss in the pot, but otherwise, this is a feature, probably. I'd put this as a feature. All right, next up we have Slips by Ritual Dash. Slips is a fantastic song. Man, I'm a sucker for a good Slips level. Like, it just has a super neat feel to it. It can cover so many different styles. And if you do it right, it can be really good. 45,000 objects. I'm not sure. This could be okay, but if not used adequately, 45,000 is kind of unnecessary. I'd definitely try to go lighter on that one. 25 hours, though. That's a very solid amount of hours put into a level, so that's neat. Alright, so immediately we have a very nice modern. There's no background, but it's kind of made up for by the fact that there are a few dark structures in the background that maybe don't move, but they have a nice depth attached to them. Dash orb, alright. The level is really good at movements in that first part, but I feel like it's gotten a bit static here. And that's a blind jump, okay. So make sure we're watching out for blind jumps here. It can be a little bit hard to see, where to jump when you're still falling down, so just keep an eye out for those. Alright, we got a lot of fakes going on, wow. Okay, so that would be another instance of something that was a bit blind. I don't mind it because there's a pad, but just, I'd say keep an eye out. Also, there was a dash orb that you could skip, which I'm not super fond of, but whatever. Alright, we're into a... Okay, so there is a structure there that has a big green X over it that really has a bit of a lack of contrast right there. That could definitely make a few players mad who were on a dark device. So maybe add a higher contrast mode to it. I like this flickering effect that was added. It adds just that extra dedication. It shows that the creator really wanted this level to, perform and look good and feel good to play. So I really do appreciate that. Alright, so I would say give the player a minute. You've just made them kind of get thrown around the screen quite a bit. Give them just a moment to kind of gather their bearings and slow down for a second before throwing them into that, triple spike situation. I like the indicators here. Maybe put them behind the portals, just for kind of uniformity. Spam. Oh, it's not a spam challenge. Dang. I like that. I like the fact that it's just not your average spam challenge. I definitely appreciate that for sure. We got credits going on, that's nice, but in general, I'm not sure why this has 45,842 objects in it, but it was good. It was a very good level. I would say work on optimization just a tad, but not a ton of complaints other than the blind jumps, and yeah, I'd say the blind jumps are the main issue. Yeah, very solid modern, and very good use of slips. It lived up to what I was hoping for the song. Alright, and last but not least, we have AS Preview 3 by the Calhoun. Not sure what this stands for, but we'll see. It's by Shirobon. Shirobon makes some really good music, so with 141 hours in the editor, this could get very interesting. And 39,000 objects. If this is still a preview, this could be like 20% of the level, so maybe work on optimization just a bit, but it shouldn't be a huge, red flag, I'd say. So let's just hop in. Alright, so we're in a evening setting, it looks like. sun's maybe setting. We got a nice lens flare, which you can apparently turn off. Not sure why a lot of people would want to do that. Also, maybe making the crabs on the ground move just a bit for the background could just add a little bit of depth or a little bit of interest in the background. Okay, what? You're supposed to go through that? It doesn't work on 60 hertz. I'm just gonna try. Oh, so you actually go through the structure. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I would like at least a bit of an indication that I'm supposed to go through the structure, as that could be very tricky to, read. Alright, the drop is coming. The drop is incoming. Hang on. Hang on. Yo! Yo, that's cool. That's insane. That's really neat. I love that transition, like, a lot. Maybe don't throw the player up, because it could be a bit frustrating. Because, like, or add a, a pad to show that, you're going to be chucking the player vertically. Oh. This is a personal opinion, but I'm not a big fan of orbs in ship parts. That's just not my thing. I'm not sure why, but it's just not what I love. The asteroids are a bit repetitive, I'd say. Maybe add another layer of depth to them. That could maybe, work on, getting it to that next level. I'm not sure why this is so tight. The background is still just charming me. This wave seems insanely tight for the difficulty level it's been so far. I feel like definitely add variation here. The asteroids could definitely get quite boring. And then we're into the unfinished part, it looks like. So overall, that's very solid. I would say definitely improve the asteroid assets. Make them less, repetitive. Add some depth to them. Add some detail. Make sure not to get this object count too high. I could definitely see this getting a bit frustrating to run for some players, but not a load of complaints here. This is a good level. Definitely worth the 141 hours for me. Make sure difficulty's alright, and just keep going. I mean, this is a high feature, low epic we're talking about, especially if you make those asteroids a bit more detailed. But, yeah, this is very impressive stuff. Well, that's going to be it for me for today. Really hope you enjoyed this one. Feel free to send me a message if you want me to check out your level. Might get in a video. If it doesn't, I'll send you a detailed message back of what I thought. And if it does, I'll see you soon. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.